My name is Osmi. I'm with the Plex division of Rockwell Automation. Plex was purchased by Rockwell back in 2021. I'll end up talking a little bit more about that later, but we're essentially a manufacturing ERP, MES, QMS, so on and so forth solution. A whole lot of acronyms in that respect. Before I get started in talking about assets, and it might be a little hard to hear, I know, with the expo going on, when we define that, what is everyone's definition of what an asset is? Just anyone out there? All right. That's cool. What's up? Say that again? Cameras, yeah. Cameras can be considered an asset. For us, we look at that in such a way to say anything that can provide an input into your manufacturing operation is considered an asset. And that goes from people to things like cameras, whether it be sensing things out on the shop floor, the machines themselves, so on and so forth. So I mentioned I'd be talking a little bit about Plex. We are, again, a manufacturing platform solution. We started on an automotive shop floor just outside of Troy, Michigan. A supplier that was supplying to Ford ran into issues with quality. So the solution very much started on the quality aspect, built out an inventory, built out into production, and then continued building until we created this platform. We're a multi-tenant SaaS solution, and that's something important that I'll end up talking about as well. But customers all over the place, being in the cloud, we maintain a very high uptime compared to many of our competitors in that respect. As I said, we were acquired by Rockwell back in 2021. Really, the intent around that was to bridge that gap between the IT functions of a manufacturing facility and the OT, and start driving a lot of that data up so that you can make decisions based on those actionable insights. The purpose for that acquisition was to really create a cornerstone for Rockwell and all of its offerings. So I talked about what assets are in our consideration, and it's being able to pull from all of those things into one source of truth, again, to help drive your decision making. And when we think about this, and I'm sure everyone here is familiar with this framework, we can see where those different solutions fit under what layer. Starting at the very top with the ERP, moving down to the MES, and then full SCADA functionality, and then getting into the HMI and the instrumentation, how each part is filtered through. And another just quick boilerplate slide, just from an industry perspective, especially when it comes to analysts, widely recognized across the field in the functionality and the value that Plex brings to the table. Having a little bit of issue with my presentation here. So a big thing for us is that we always focus on what is happening within the manufacturing space. We release a report every year called the State of Smart Manufacturing. We just recently released our 9th edition. This information is pulled from our 8th edition from last year. So some of this is just slightly out of date, but I think it still holds true for just about everyone in manufacturing. The first thing I want to focus on is how 83% of the people that responded to the survey said that the adoption of smart manufacturing is really going to be key to their business. Really trying to understand what's happening out on your shop floor, what's going on with WIP. A lot of customers that we spoke to prior to having a system like Plex would get raw material in and finished good out and no idea what happens in between. So having something that gives you that ability to see what's going on has become increasingly important. And then some of the other challenges that the customers that we surveyed and the manufacturers that we surveyed, at that point they had said skilled worker shortage was a big issue. Risk mitigation, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. I know Jeremy Walsh from SY was up here earlier talking about cybersecurity. And of course, supply chain disruptions. I'm sure everyone's aware of what's going on in Baltimore. That's set to cause a big issue because that's such a major port. And then on the very end here, what are some of the areas that manufacturers are focusing on to really maximize that future growth and gain that intel that they need? And that's everything from looking at cloud, looking at automation, quality, supply chain, so on and so forth. Because a lot of times when we speak to any potential, any manufacturer that's interested in Plex, or a lot of times when we walk the shop floor, what we see from a technological stack, as far as software is concerned, is a lot of patchwork. So there's different things covering different parts of the facility that may or may not speak to each other, right? And just to show of hands, how many people see something like this happening within their own facilities today, where you might have something that is working for quality but doesn't necessarily talk to the production folks? Yeah, we got one, we got two. Yeah. The biggest thing that we see from this is silos, the inability to communicate and understand who is right in what situations. There are a number of times that I've gone out on the shop floor and talked to folks, and they said, yeah, we have an hour-long stand-up meeting every day, and all we do is argue about who's got the right set of data. And that tends to happen quite a bit when you have this patchwork landscape. Alongside that, we also see a ton of paper out on the shop floor. For the manufacturing folks here, do you guys have a lot of paper processes that you see when you're going through your operations? I see one head nod. So maybe not. Maybe this doesn't resonate as well, but that's okay. A lot of times it's really about finding that data, whether it be paper or other processes, right? Because a lot of times these are the issues that you'll end up running into, some of the common operational issues that we see between poor visibility and inventory accuracy, whether we're talking about manual operations or a lack of supply chain availability. We end up seeing that quite a bit when there's a lot of different things happening all at once from an information perspective. And what that output becomes is having higher costs for brand recognition, a lot of delays. If you have to short ship or expedite quite often, it can all be stemmed from those issues out to your customer output. What I think really becomes special for us, and again, why Rockwell saw Plex as a value to the portfolio, is that we take that patchwork, we take all those different things, again, from the top floor down to the manufacturing and to the instrumentation, and connect it all under one platform. So everyone's singing off of the same hymn sheet, everyone's able to understand exactly what's going on. And we can take that a step further, where if you're like one of our customers is American Axle, what American Axle does, it has Plex either running the full shop or just the manufacturing portion, and then feeds everything up into an overall system like an Oracle or an SAP, things of that nature. And when we break that down into functional components, what's important to understand, again, being built on a multi-tenant solution, is that we have the real meat and potatoes being that manufacturing operation, really being able to drive down, bless you, and see everything that's happening and who's doing what's the operation out on the shop floor. And then we drive that data upwards, whether it be within our own system or, again, overall ERP or whatever have you. And so, again, getting a little bit more into the granularity of it, there's really 3 swim lanes that we think of when we're talking about digital transformation within the manufacturing operation itself. And that covers visibility, control, and automation. Seeing what's happening, controlling what's happening, and then automating it and taking yourself out of the equation. First and foremost, we offer an OEE solution to understand, here's our uptime, here's our downtime, here's our scrap rate. So to give you those numbers directly from the machine, as opposed to writing things down and trying to post those at the end of a shift. Being able to monitor, this is our APM, Asset Performance Monitoring solution, connecting that machine and understanding, hey, the last time this machine ran at this rate, at this heat and whatever else, it failed 60% of the time, and that's causing unplanned downtime. A solution like this creates those preventative maintenance job orders for you automatically when it starts to sense those things, so that you can avoid the unplanned downtime. Moving forward from there, there's the quality management aspect, keeping up with any ISO certifications, IATF, whatever have you. That fits in both lanes, as it's helping you see the problems as they occur and then correct them down the line. And then, of course, the manufacturing execution system itself, which is tracking everything from inventory, production, so on and so forth, really giving you full visibility, again, into the who, what, when, where, and why. And then finally, in the automation space, we have a portion of the solution that just automates everything, right? We've got a number of customers that run lights out. They have their first shift in the morning. They set up everything that they need to go. And then our solution is managing those operations, taking those inputs. And the second it catches something like a camera is sensing the quality coming through, if it catches something that's out of spec, it'll stop the machines. So they can run till 8, 9 o'clock at night and know for certain that all of that data is being driven in for them to understand what's happening. And then on top of that sits the ERP itself. So why a multi-tenant solution? Why have something be in the cloud? I mean, I mentioned Jeremy Walsh earlier. He's talking about movement to the cloud and how there can be some fear around that. Some important things to understand about a solution at really this manufacturing platform is that it's one code base, one platform, and one infrastructure. So for everyone here that gets onto Netflix or Facebook, whenever there's an update or new functionality that's released, no one's downloading anything, right? You just have it the second you log into the browser. And that's very much how this operates. So there's no upgrade cycles or anything crazy in that respect. What's also very special is that our customers are all on the same version because this is very much a versionless software. So the collaboration from our customer base is amazing. Everyone's able to, I met with a customer in New Jersey that basically said, once we got onto Plex, it was really refreshing going to a user group and someone just said, hey, what'd you think of that new scheduling functionality? And we didn't have to do this dance of like, I'm on version 9 and you're on version 6 and what are the differences? They're able to work together and communicate all as one because it's one very configurable platform across many different industries. Coming back to this slide, and again, we talked about connecting assets. Our version of assets is everything that can capture a manufacturing moment. Right? So in that vein of thought, we don't focus on users. It's all unlimited users, and that extends out to, again, all of those machines, all of those people, but also from a supply chain perspective to your suppliers, to your customers. You're able to give them a user ID to log in through roles-based permissions and understand exactly what's happening. If a supplier sees you're running low on inventory, because all of that's being tracked, they're able to kind of raise that red flag like, hey, we should figure this out. Maybe you need to place an order. What is the situation here? All pulling directly out of our solution. So how has this helped a lot of our customers, right? Customers like REE, this is a EV company. So it's been pretty cool seeing the Volvo over there and all the charging tech. One of the biggest things that they said was that that Plex MES has created the digital backbone for their assembly lines and giving their team the capability to manage their bespoke manufacturing operations. Really, it's all about scalability when it comes to working with any solution and helping them move forward as they ramp up multiple plants. Customers like Polymer Precision, this is a customer in the aerospace industry. They had 100% revenue growth year over year that equated to $250K per employee. I mentioned earlier we exist in a number of different industries. So my favorite customer is Hosbeck Pickles. I don't know if anybody else is here likes pickles, but they were able to run multiple mock recalls within minutes. Honestly, being able to hammer out a lot of those processes equated to them saving about $500K in write-offs due to any faulty material, anything like that. I mentioned American Axle earlier, another one of our big customers, being able to reduce their inventory by 10% and also improve their output, their manufacturing output by 5%. Aaron Thompson being able to execute their mock recalls in 7 minutes. You know, the value that our customers have experienced is phenomenal as a result. The reason I bring all of this up, really, again, it goes back to capturing that manufacturing moment, understanding that everything within and outside of your facility is an asset, and then brings all of that data into one platform so you know exactly what to do when it matters, and not 8 hours later at the end of a shift, or in some cases 10 days later when somebody actually updates their solution or updates their information.